Welcome to Motherhood in Black, where we discuss all things parenthood from the unique Black perspective of a millennial mother, growing, learning, and unlearning on this journey of motherhood.
Hey y'all, it's Nikea here, and this is episode 1 of Motherhood in Black. So this is a podcast that I started about a little less than 3 years ago now, but I never posted any episodes because of fear. But I'm here with this first episode to give you a intro about me, about the podcast, and set my intentions and purposes for the podcast for this year. So this episode is just gonna be all about me, who I am, what I do, what we do here at Motherhood in Black. All right, so a little bit about me. My name is Nikea. I am 32 years old. I am a term that I like to hear that I heard before, a domestic engineer. Currently, I am a stay-at-home mother. So I also have a YouTube channel that I am growing and that is flourishing and thriving. So I'm just an all-around creative type person. I'm also a makeup artist and a novice photographer via my husband. Speaking of husband, I am married. Been married for a year and 3 months. We survived the whole pandemic together. I am also a teacher, although I don't currently teach. I have taught elementary, I've taught high school, and I've also taught at the collegiate level. I grew up in a 2-parent household with my biological mother and father. We were a military family, although we didn't have to move around too much. We moved from North Carolina to Virginia, and that's where we stayed. I grew up in a Christian church-going household. So not just we go to church on Sundays. We go to church on Sundays, Tuesday Bible study. We have evening services that we go to, choir practice, dance practice, all of that. I was raised with my younger brother, who is only a year younger than me, and we got along pretty well. There were times where we, fought each other and hated each other, but I feel like that's just like typical sibling rivalry. Like we're trying to compete for love, affection, and attention. I will say being raised, my parents were strict, but they weren't too strict. I feel like they didn't try to shelter me from things, but they were just limitations put on what I could do as a child. I don't hate the way I was raised. Look at me. I'm this fine human being as I came out to be. Also, their punishment style, which I think is fair to mention on a podcast about motherhood, because I feel like that made me who I am today. So I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. And corporal punishment was a thing. So we got spankings, we got popped, timeout, we were grounded, things were taken away from me. Like, for example, one time I ran up the cell phone bill texting, and this was back when you had to get on the internet to text. So my father took away my cell phone, and I only got it back when I went on an out-of-town trip for school. I am a mother. I have given birth to one child. She is 4 years old. Her name is Harper. But I have 2 children because I have an older daughter who is 12 years old. She is my bonus daughter, as what people typically like to say, step, but we say bonus over here. So I have a 4-year-old and a 12-year-old, both girls. And that's just a little bit of background about me and who I am. So now I just want to tell you all why. Why did I start this podcast? I had not been into podcasting, and the only reason I heard about it was my husband started a podcast with his friend and his brother called Barbershop Talk. And I was like, what is a podcast? After I was exposed to podcasts through my husband, I began to listen to different things, and I listened to podcasts more so for information and for growth and not just entertainment. That's what I use YouTube for. So I wanted to listen to podcasts that would feed that in me. And I looked for like self-help type podcasts and things that would feed the different aspects of who I am as a person. So I'm Nikea, but I'm also Nikea who's a mother. So I looked for podcasts about motherhood. But a lot of the things that I found about motherhood, it would be like one episode, and there are podcasts that are dedicated to motherhood, but nothing specifically to Black motherhood, because to me, mothering as a Black woman in America is different, because there's things that we have to teach our children that other cultures or races may not have to teach their children. There's also things that are ingrained in us in our history that are not ingrained into other cultures or races' history, slavery being one of them. And there was just nothing out there that I could relate to. The podcasts were either just moms talking about different issues and not really about momming. For me, it was like too ratchet. And I was like, oh, this is what we doing. Like I needed balance. I need the ratchetness as well as the wholesomeness. I need balance. I needed both. And I didn't see anything out there that was giving that to me. And then also I just needed an outlet. I just needed an outlet as a mother, just to get out my motherly woe. And a lot of times on like social media and Facebook, I'm a part of different mother parenting groups. And a lot of times, even when you just post on social media in general, people can be like attacking you or just give you unsolicited advice. And sometimes you just want to rant, you just want to vent, and you want to be heard. And you just want people to say, I hear you, or I've been through this too. I don't want a solution. It happened, it's done, it's over. I just need to get it out. So like I said, I started this back in 2019, I believe. And I actually had people that I recorded interviews with, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna let you know when this comes out. And maybe I started in 2018. Yes, it was actually 2018 when I started this. And then fear got in the way. I stalled, and I was just afraid of what people would say, what people would think, because people have so much to say about parenting. So I'm just at the point in my parenting life where, and I feel like people would have to get to this point, you're just gonna have to do what's best for you and your household and your family and your child, and bump what other people have to say. Everybody ain't gonna like what you do, everybody's not gonna vibe with it, and that's just the nature of the beast. So I think I've reached a comfortable place in my parenthood where I can openly discuss about how I mother. So here we are. So like I said, I recorded 2 episodes before, and I still have those files, so I'm gonna edit them and post them after this introductory episode, but I just wanted to get up here and just let you all know what I'm about and what to expect. All right, so the next thing I wanna talk about is my mothering style, my parenting style. So I'm gonna preface this with, I'm trying. This is my goal. I'm always striving as a parent. I'm never gonna reach the end, always striving. So my goal is to be a gentle, conscious, intentional parent. That's what I'm trying to be. My goal is to raise a conscious, balanced human with as little childhood trauma as possible. I don't want my child to grow up saying that I act this way because my parents did this or because this happened. A lot of things are outside of my control, but the things I can control in parenting, I want to control them. When I say I want to be a gentle, conscious, intentional parent, I want to be an understanding parent. I beat myself up about this all the time, but I want to listen to my child. I want to take in how they feel. I want to constantly be aware of the fact that they are a little human in a world with a whole cornucopia of things that they do not understand. As I mentioned before, my child is 4. She is a human just like me, except for I'm 28 years ahead of her in how to deal with emotions and still don't know how to deal with them properly, okay? TBH. Let's be honest with ourselves here. So she has the same emotions and have feelings that I have, but she's only 4. So she doesn't know how to express them, how to handle them, how to manage them. And my job is to facilitate her learning process on this earth and to protect her, to shelter her, to feed her, to clothe her. So when it comes to dealing with certain things, I try my best to be gentle. Now, I will admit there are times that I do yell. I get angry, I get frustrated, I get upset, and I lose control of my emotions, just as my 4-year-old can. I want to get away from yelling. I want to get away from popping or hitting, because every time I do it, I regret it and I feel bad about it afterwards. And although that's how I was raised, you know, I got spankings, I was popped, that's not something that I want to do. Now, I'm not mad at my parents. I personally do not feel any trauma or any type of way about how my parents raised me, but just because I don't feel anything or it hasn't negatively affected me or manifested in any way doesn't make it right. You know, I grew up to be a good person and I was spanked and stuff, but for me, it's not okay to hit people. Because as adults, when we do something wrong, if our manager at work was to pop us, hit me on and pop in, okay? Again, this is a mindset that I am trying to build within myself and to shift away from the ways of old, of how I was raised, and to just be a better parent and the best parent for my child. I want to shift away from the yelling, the anger, the aggressiveness, and shift more towards conversations. I do this with my daughter now, and I want to do it more. I want to have more conversations with her, and I want her to be able to come to me and say, Mommy, this is how I feel, and be able to tell me why she feels that way. Even before she got this old, I would try to explain to her, this is why you can't do this is why you need to do it this way, and why are you crying? Why do you feel this way? Tell me how you feel. Now there are times where I'm like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? But if you crying and somebody yelling at you, you just gonna keep crying because they're yelling at you, and then you're probably gonna forget why you crying. So again, I'm trying to do better, striving towards those things, trying to explain different things to her and come to a mutual understanding. Like, for example, yesterday I posted on my social media that Harper, I no longer call nap time, because that's a trigger for my daughter. That's gonna trigger the tears, the whining, the falling out, all of the emotions. But what I call it is rest time. And I explained to her, you need to rest because it is good for your body. It's good for you to be healthy, and you don't have to go to sleep during this time. You just have to lay down and you have to be still. And oftentimes my husband and I, or just one of us, will lay with her and have rest time. 9 times out of 10, her resting turns into her sleeping, because when she doesn't take a nap, she gets cranky, and it's just not a good day for anybody. Those are the things that I'm learning. Parenthood is a journey. It's a learning process. So that's just an example of how I try to communicate and talk to her. Do I do it the way I want to, or the way I feel is correct every single time? No. When I mess up, do I go back and apologize to her? Yes, I do. And my number one goal is I don't want parenting to stress me out. And yes, I know parenting is stressful, but I just don't want to be constantly like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Oh my God, I don't know. How am I gonna do this? I can't believe she's doing this. My daughter's doing this. I can't fix it. I need help. No, I don't want to be that person. So I'm getting better. When Harper gets worked up and get triggered, I'm doing better at staying calm. Even when she's falling out and throwing herself on the floor, I remain calm and let her know that's not okay. This is what we need to do. So just trying to build in a more conscious, gentle parenting for us. I feel like I could talk longer about my parenting style, and maybe I'll just do a whole episode about that. But yeah, that's just a little snapshot of my parenting life and parenting style. So how I plan to set up this show is just have a few segments. First of all, I want to start off with a mom rant, because sometimes you just need to get stuff out. So every episode I'm just going to start off with a mom rant. Good or bad or indifferent, just how mom life is treating me at that current time. And then I may also include some from other people. And then we'll get into the topic of the day. I have a gambit of topics that I can share with you all. I have a long list, and I have a list of guests that I want to include on my show. So it's here. I am ready. Let's go. And thirdly, I want to celebrate Black motherhood. Yes, all mothers are great, even if you're not Black, but I'm Black. So I am celebrating Black motherhood. Not to say that Black motherhood is better than anyone else, but that's just what I'm focused on here, okay? So I just want to celebrate Black motherhood by shouting out some Black mothers who are killing it, who are being dope, and who are setting a good example for people, parents, and for their children. And then I want to include my listening and viewing audience in this conversation with me. I want to have questions and answer segments. So especially if I have a guest, I would love for people to present questions and have anything they like the guest to answered at that time, or even something that I can answer at my ability. And even if I can't answer the question, I will come back to you and get it done and find the answer. And then lastly, I'm going to wrap up the segment with a little laugh, something a little lighthearted. And at the time, my child was a toddler, so I called it parenting fail or toddler tale. So just to share a story about when you tried to do something as a parent and it was just a major fail, or your toddler just did something crazy off the wall that made you laugh or just threw off your day. I am excited to start this journey on this podcast. We are here. This is going to be out there in the universe. I am accepting it and receiving it. So I'm going to just start this podcast off as a separate segment on my YouTube channel. So that's where you can find it right now. And then as life goes on, then I will move it to the actual podcast platform. So what I may do is just post episodes on SoundCloud, and then as my freeness goes away, I'll delete them, but they will always live on my YouTube channel. So this is Motherhood in Black with Nikea. I'll see you on the next one, y'all. Bye.